Welcome back to FM Story as we approach the end of our second season with Athletic Club. Do we still have a chance of winning the title? Let's have a look and see what happens. If you do enjoy the video, please like, subscribe and comment. And without further ado, let's get started. So we're going to the Atletico game on the back of a couple of victories against Villarreal and Girona. We beat Villarreal 1-0 thanks to Iker Muniain's goal in the first half. Girona we won 4-0 despite being down to 10 men for an hour of the game when we were 2-0 up. So decent performances, and now we've got a big one going in away against Atletico Madrid, who beat us early in the season in the Copa del Rey and the Supercopa España. We're currently sat in second. We're guaranteed to be in the Europa League. If we avoid defeat here against Atletico Madrid, that'll be us guaranteed to be in the Champions League for next season as well. But going into the game, we've got a few issues. We've got both our first choice centre halves suspended in Danny Vivian and Inigo Martinez. We don't have an awful lot of sort of quality depth other than that. So we're going into the game with Unai Nunez and John Pacheco playing in the central defence, and we've brought Oyan Sanset back in the box-to-box midfielder role in the centre midfield as well. We've had a few disappointing results against Atletico Madrid this season, so it's key to get off to a good start. Not concede any stupid goals. Kappa with a free kick, Sanset, back to Kappa, come back to Nunez, Venkador, Sanset, Muniain through to Nico Williams, and there's Vilabra to open the scoring and put us 1-0 up. Lovely bit of interplay between the boys. This is a lovely pass from Muniain just to get Nico Williams in behind the fullback and just squares it, and Vilabra has a simple tap in. It does appear that the goal was pretty much our only foray forward though. So Nico Williams has nicked the ball back off the fullback. Probably should have squared that one, I think, rather than try to go at that narrow angle. Kappa. Surely that's a red card for him as well. Venkador upended by Rodrigo de Paul. He's already been booked. The referee confirmed the penalty. Vilabra will step up and buries it in the bottom corner for his 42nd goal of the season. Right inside net in there. It looks like we're going to secure the Champions League spot in style. Muniain with the corner. They've headed clear. Carrasco's breaking. I mean, we've kind of had a bit of a let-off there. It was a weak shot to end that breakaway. Vilabra. Inaki Williams gets to the byline, back to Sunset, Kappa, Venkador, Javi Lopez. And there's Nico Williams with the tap in to make it 3-0. Really, this couldn't be going any better. Drives to the byline, pulls it across. Nico Williams nicking in front of Vilabra and stealing Vilabra's hat-trick off him. João Felix, lovely ball that one. And Morata should have scored. Overall, a half that we can't complain about. 3-0 up at half-time. We're going to secure a place in the Champions League. We've got lucky a couple of times when they've broken, but other than that, top performance, especially given that we're missing a couple of first-choice centre-halves. Send the same team out to start the second half and hope for more of the same. Not much happening to start the second half. Fresh legs in midfield and behind the front man just to see how we get on. Ivan Martin breaking away. Looks for Vilabra. What a save by Oblak. Denied Vilabra his hat-trick. And Herrera looking for Aymar. Hit the woodwork. If he'd squared it, Vilabra had a tap in. Right, we should be fairly safe with a victory here. Takes us back above Barcelona temporarily and should be a confirmation of our place in the Champions League next season. Oh, I must hit the post again. And that's it, full time, 3-0 victory. And we've secured our place in the Champions League for next season. We've reached the last weekend of the season. As you can see from the table there, we still have an outside chance of finishing in second if we pick up a point and Barcelona get beat. Since the Atletico game, we've had a decent run. We drew 1-1 with Betis. We got revenge on Malaga for them inflicting our first defeat of the season by beating them 3-1. We beat Elche 2-0, and then we drew 2-2 with Real Sporting. They scored a late goal and a 1 goal that we conceded. Interestingly, we've had probably as big a say on the relegation battle as anyone. Our last 3 games, Elche, Sporting, and then the last game of the season against Osasuna, against 3 of the bottom 4. And Osasuna could still stay up. Obviously, Sporting would be level on points with Elche and Osasuna if they hadn't pegged us back in that last game as well. In terms of the players, Villabra's got 37 goals in the league this season. Muniain's still out in front in terms of the assists. I think if you actually look at our squad, if it wasn't for Villabra's goals, we would have really struggled because in all competitions he's scored 47 goals in 50 games. We've only got 2 other players in double figures. That's Muniain and Nico Williams from the left. But we've also, like Muniain's got an awful lot of assists, and so has Inaki Williams as well. So we've got some assists from our creative players, but Vilabra has definitely been probably our best player all season, and certainly without those goals we would never be in anywhere near the position we're in at the moment. As we said, going into this last game of the season, we can still finish second. We could also stop Osasuna from staying up, which the fans will be delighted with as they're a local rival. We do have one player that started the season at Osasuna in Aymar on the bench. But otherwise, we're going in with what is our strongest team throughout the season. Everyone's fit and available for the last day of the season. So hopefully we can finish on a high and do our best to get that second place. Javi Lopez with a free kick. Over the top for Nico Williams. What a start. Less than 90 seconds on the clock and we've taken the lead. And Osasuna have got some work to do if they're going to stay up. I mean, the keeper really should be doing better from that angle. We've picked up the loose ball in the midfield there. Kappa, White and Aki Williams. Back to Kappa. Sunset with a lovely ball. Muniain through and the keeper saved. I think Kappa might have been pulled back there, but if that's a penalty, it's one of the weaker ones we've been awarded this season. Kappa's an interesting position for us because that right back role, he's the only one that I would trust in that team, and there doesn't seem to be an awful lot of Basque right backs available to come in and challenge him. Vilabra 2-0, another goal for Vilabra. That's his 48th of the season. Just sends the keeper the wrong way into the bottom corner, easy as you like. You wouldn't have thought he'd missed 3 penalties in the first 5 weeks of the season or whatever it was. Nico Williams, Venkador, who unfortunately is missing out on the Spain squad for the European Championships. We do have Unai Simon and Vivian and Vilabra, who have all made the squad. And Villabra's got his second. It's a great run from Vivian from the back. He gets the ball and then just runs right through the middle. Lovely ball to find Nico Williams. Keeper makes a good save, but Villabra's the first one to react. And Nico Williams has picked up a goal as well. Another one. We're definitely ending the season on on a bit of a high here. Javi Lopez pulls it back. Nico Williams creates a bit of space for himself and it goes straight through the keeper. About as good a first half as we could have asked for. Celebrate with the fans on the last day of the season. What a great season it's been in the league in particular. And we're 4-0 up. Probably make some changes at half time just to give some fresh legs and give some of the younger players a run out. A lot quieter this second half. I mean, the fact that we're going to finish 3 points behind Real Madrid and we got beat by them just after at the beginning of February, that's going to sting a bit since they've won the title. They're currently getting beat on the last day of the season. But good save by Simon, giving the ball away there. Not a great way to end the season, conceding a goal like that. Just lumps ball from the left back over the top. Keeper half comes out and goes back, and then comes out again, and it gets knocked past him. I mean, we've won the game, so it shouldn't matter too much. And there we go, 4-1 win last day of the season. Finished third. I mean, if you'd said at the start of the season we were going to finish third and we were going to be within 3 points of Real Madrid at the top and 2 points of Barcelona in second, I'd probably snapped your hands off that. In fact, 1 point I think probably with Barcelona. But yeah, good season. Now we just need to kind of build on that for next season and do better in the European competitions. Now it's time for the end of season review. So obviously as we start with the transfers. So we picked up Ander Herrera on a free transfer on deadline day. We had tried to sign him during the summer, but he wanted too much money. And then when he negotiated his release from PSG, he was much more amenable to coming in. Obviously, given his sort of age, he didn't factor in as much as he did the previous season when he was on loan, but was still a key part of the team who could cover both the box-to-box midfield and the defensive midfielder role. Ivan Martin, we got on loan, and it's going to turn into a permanent deal for 2.1 million in the summer. A player that can add depth to the squad across behind the front man, in the three across the attacking midfield role, also playing that box-to-box midfield role. He didn't start any games, but will certainly be more involved in the first team next season. Aymar, we signed from Osasuna, much more a one for the future, rather than a one that was expected to perform much this season. Possibly he might go out on loan with Serrano and John Guerrero coming back, just to get that steady stream of first team football to further develop. And then the other player we signed, John Pacheco from Real Sociedad. Again, another one for the future in terms of it was a position where we didn't have much youth. Like Inigo Martinez is one of our starting centre-halves. He's 32. We struggled through last season just with 3 centre-halves, so we needed a younger player coming in. And he performed well in some big games, despite the fact that he only had a 6.71 average rating. He was thrown into some pretty big games as well. In terms of outs, the only one we got rid of was Leku, who wanted to go. We probably could have got a bit more for that, but it was what it was. And then we sent a load of players out on loan. Most of them performed pretty well. Like Nico Serrano's one who is probably just about ready to come back into the first team picture. Hugo and John Guerrero will probably be involved in the first team picture as well. Yeri is leaving on a permanent deal as part of the loan deal. So yeah. So the board expectation was for us to qualify for the Europa League, qualify for the Champions League. We were until mid-December, flying high at the top of the league, unbeaten. And we were, in fact, I think, top of the league until we played Real Madrid at the beginning of February. And then they were top every week after that. But overall, we ended the season with 4 losses. And they were the bizarre... I mean, we lost to Malaga We got hammered by Malaga at home, who finished 15th. We lost away at Osasuna, who were relegated. We got beaten fairly comfortably by Real Madrid. And then we lost to Rayo Vallecano, who snuck into the Europa League, who actually were, at the start of the season, were right up at the top with us. The Champions League was basically a big disappointment. The idea was that we were to at least reach the knockout stages. However, we lost our first 4 games, and just it was such an odd thing. While we were going through such a good run in the league, we just couldn't do anything in the Champions League. In fact, the first 2 games we took the lead in both of them, and then got beaten. Porto, we conceded an injury time 4th to lose, but with victories over Club Brugge and then that last day of the group against Paris Saint-Germain, we managed to go into the Europa League. However, in the Europa League, we got knocked out on penalties by Hertha Berlin. And just, yeah, I mean, even the home game that we won 1-0, we weren't great. And then the Copa del Rey, everything started off all right. Went into the semi-final against Atletico Madrid, got beaten fairly comfortably in Madrid. Came back, we're winning 1-0, had a player sent off, and we're chasing the game, looking for that equaliser on aggregate to take us into extra time. And then they broke and Morata scored in the 92nd minute. And we also lost in the Supercopa España to Atletico Madrid as well. So in the cup competitions, they were a bit of a bogey side for us. Our biggest win was a 5-0 victory over Valencia, with Bilabo picking up a hat-trick. We did hammer Barcelona at the start of the season. I mean, Barcelona finished second on 87 points, but lost the first 3 games of the season, and that was one of them. And then, I mean, after that, how many more did they lose after that? So they lost another 2 games in the last 35 games. And then the goal of the season was a lovely strike from outside the box, a chipped goal from Bilabo, which at the time had put us into the lead against Real Madrid as well, but they pulled us back to pick up a draw. Everything was up apart from the sponsorship revenue. That was slightly down in that last season. No surprises really over who the biggest shirt sellers are. And pretty much that was our best team all season, was Simon in goal, Kappa, Vivian, Inigo Martinez and Javi Lopez at the back, Sunset and Venkador in the middle, with obviously Ander Herrera to spell either of them, depending on who wasn't available. And then Inaki Williams, Muniain, Nico Williams and Bilabo up front. I mean, Bilabo scored 49 goals in all competitions in 51 games. Well, 49 starts and 2 sub appearances. I mean, he couldn't have done much better. He couldn't have done much more for us this season, and I dread to think where we would have been without his goals. So I managed to win the manager of the season. Bilabo was the top goal scorer in the league, and the top Spanish goal scorer in the league, obviously because he was the top goal scorer. Muniain, I think, had the most assists in the league with 18. Well, I think it was 15 in league competitions. And yeah, everything was pretty good. I mean, I would argue with that quote and say it was our run of results in the first sort of 3 months of the season that were key to where we finished. Again, I'm not sure about this late charge. I mean, we certainly didn't fall off at the end of the season, but the first sort of 3 or 4 months of the season was definitely our best. And that's it for this episode. Join us next time to see what we do in the transfer window and see how we start our 3rd season for the Athletic Club. We'll see you then.